All right, let's dive deep today, exploring something pretty profound and personal,
Mm-hmm.
the promise of resurrection.
Yeah.
Taking a close look at an excerpt from Your Brother Will Rise, an article that unpacks, well, not just the beliefs,
Right.
but the emotional impact this hope has
Mm-hmm.
for believers.
It's interesting
Yeah.
how the article uses the story of Lazarus
Yeah.
to illustrate this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just some distant historical event.
Right.
It's a story about real people
Yeah.
grappling with grief and doubt and,
Absolutely.
and ultimately overwhelming joy.
Before we even get to Lazarus, though,
Right.
the article tackles a really fundamental question.
Mm-hmm.
Why should anyone believe in resurrection at all?
Yeah.
It's not something we see every day.
Right.
So what makes this hope credible?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The article uses this powerful analogy.
Okay.
Imagine a friend promising to help you rebuild your house
Mm-hmm.
after a devastating storm. You wouldn't just blindly accept that promise, right?
Right.
You'd need to believe two things: their genuine desire to help
Mm-hmm.
and their actual ability to do it.
I see where this is going.
Yeah.
It's like that with Jehovah and the resurrection, isn't it?
Exactly.
We need to see evidence of both his desire and his power.
Precisely.
Okay.
And the article dives deep into both.
Okay.
When it comes to Jehovah's desire
Mm-hmm.
to resurrect the dead,
Yeah.
it points to his own words in the scriptures.
Okay.
Isaiah, Hosea, Revelation, they all contain promises of a resurrection.
Yeah.
And we know Jehovah always keeps his promises.
But it's more than just fulfilling an obligation, isn't it?
It is.
The article uses the word yearning
Yes.
to describe Jehovah's feelings.
Right.
That's powerful.
It is. Think about the book of Job.
Yeah.
He was a man who suffered immensely,
Mm-hmm.
yet he expressed this unshakable belief
Yeah.
that even if he died,
Yeah.
Jehovah would long to see him live again.
Wow.
It wasn't just a possibility. It was something Jehovah yearned for.
That really changes the whole perspective.
It does.
It's not just a cold transaction.
Right.
It's a reflection of Jehovah's deep love
Yes.
for his creation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this yearning
Mm-hmm.
isn't limited to those who already know and worship him.
Oh, wow.
The article highlights that Jehovah wants to give everyone the opportunity to learn about him,
Okay.
even those who died without that chance.
That's actually really comforting to think about.
Yeah.
But, okay, let's shift to the other side of the equation.
Okay.
Jehovah's power
Mm-hmm.
to actually resurrect the dead.
Yeah.
How does the article address that?
Well, it starts by reminding us
Mm-hmm.
that Jehovah is the source of all life.
Right.
He created everything.
Yeah.
So logically, restoring life is certainly within his capabilities.
Yeah.
Revelation 1.8 calls him the Almighty,
Mm-hmm.
which speaks volumes about his limitless power.
I remember reading about Emma Arnold in
Yeah.
an article,
Mm.
a woman whose family faced unimaginable hardship
Right.
during World War II.
Yeah.
Despite the horrors they witnessed,
Yeah.
she clung to the belief
Right.
that death couldn't possibly be stronger than God.
Her story is a testament
Yeah,
to the strength that this hope can provide,
absolutely.
even in the darkest of times.
Mm-hmm.
But the article goes even further,
Okay.
drawing a fascinating parallel
Okay.
between Jehovah's limitless memory
Mm-hmm.
and his power to resurrect.
Okay.
Think about it. He knows every star by name,
Yeah.
an unfathomable number.
Right.
If he can remember every detail of countless stars,
Yeah.
surely he can remember every detail
Right.
of those who have died,
Mm.
making resurrection possible.
That's a really interesting connection.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've established
Yeah.
that Jehovah has both the desire and the ability to
Yeah.
bring people back to life.
Yes.
And now
Yeah.
the article zooms in on a specific example, the resurrection of Lazarus.
This is where the emotional impact of the resurrection
Yeah.
truly hits home.
Oh,
It's not just a theoretical concept anymore.
right.
It's a story about real people experiencing the depths of grief
Yeah.
and then the overwhelming joy of reunion.
I'm ready to hear more about this story.
Okay.
We're in Bethany,
Right.
and we meet Lazarus and his sisters, Mary and Martha.
Mm-hmm.
They're close friends with Jesus.
Yes.
But Lazarus falls ill.
Right.
His sisters send word to Jesus, but he's preaching quite a distance away.
And here's where things get interesting.
Okay.
The article points out
Yeah.
that Jesus intentionally waits 2 more days
Wow.
before traveling to Bethany.
Okay.
He arrives 4 days after Lazarus has died.
Why the delay?
Right.
What was Jesus doing
Yeah.
during those crucial days? It
Mhm.
seems like every moment would have been precious
Yes.
to Mary and Martha.
That's a great question.
Yeah,
It might seem strange at first,
right.
but if we look closely at Jesus' actions and words,
Yeah.
it reveals something profound about his
Yes.
purpose.
I'm all ears.
By delaying his arrival, Jesus allowed Lazarus' death to be undeniably certain.
Okay.
This wasn't the case of someone being mistakenly pronounced dead
Right.
or a last-minute recovery.
Right.
Lazarus was truly gone.
Yeah.
And this sets the stage for a miracle that would leave no room for doubt.
So it's about amplifying
Right.
the impact of the miracle. It
Yeah.
makes you wonder, did Jesus know what he was going to do from the very beginning?
The article seems to suggest that,
Okay.
pointing to Jesus' statement to his disciples.
Okay.
Lazarus, our friend, has fallen asleep, but I am traveling there to awaken him.
Yeah.
He speaks of Lazarus' death as sleep,
Right.
already hunting at the resurrection to come.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
It reveals a level of confidence and authority over death that's simply astounding. But back in Bethany, I can only imagine the emotional roller coaster
Right.
Mary and Martha must have been going through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The article highlights that Mary and Martha didn't demand Jesus' presence. They simply informed him of their brother's illness,
Right.
which speaks volumes about their faith and their respect for him.
It makes you think about the kind of friends you have in your life who would be there for you.
Right.
Not out of obligation,
Yeah.
but out of genuine love and concern.
A powerful reflection indeed.
Yeah.
And when Jesus finally arrives,
Okay.
Martha goes out to meet him
Mm-hmm.
and says, Lord, if you had been here,
Yeah.
brother would not have died.
It's a statement laced with both grief and a glimmer of hope, isn't it?
Yeah.
As if she's acknowledging the reality of the situation
Yeah.
while still clinging to the possibility of a miracle.
And Jesus responds with a powerful declaration.
Okay.
Your brother will rise. But this isn't just a vague promise of a future resurrection for all mankind.
Right.
Jesus then makes a profound statement.
Okay.
I am the resurrection and the life.
He's directly linking himself to this divine power
Yes.
over life and death. It's not just something he believes in,
Right.
it's something he embodies.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And remember, Jesus had already performed resurrections before.
that's right.
A young girl and a young man.
Yeah.
But Lazarus had been dead for 4 days.
Right.
His body would already begun to decompose. Could Jesus really bring him back?
The tension must have been palpable.
Yes,
And the scene that follows is just heartbreaking.
it is.
Mary, overcome with grief,
Mm-hmm.
repeats Martha's words to Jesus,
Yeah.
and everyone is weeping.
This is where we see not only Jesus' power,
Mm-hmm.
but also his profound compassion.
Okay.
He's not just a detached miracle worker.
Right.
He's deeply moved by their grief.
Yeah.
And he weeps openly with them.
That detail always strikes me.
Yeah.
If Jesus was just there to perform a miracle, why would he weep?
It shows us that his power is fueled by compassion,
Yeah.
not just a cold demonstration of ability.
Mm-hmm.
And since Jesus perfectly reflects his Father's qualities,
Right.
we can understand that Jehovah feels that same empathy
Yeah.
for human sorrow.
It reminds us that even though Jehovah is all-powerful,
Mm.
he's not distant or unfeeling.
Right.
He understands our pain
Yes.
and shares in our grief.
Then the scene shifts to Lazarus' tomb.
Okay.
It's sealed with a stone,
Yeah.
and Martha even objects to its removal
Okay.
because of the smell.
Right.
But Jesus reminds her, did I not tell you that if you would believe,
Yeah.
you would see the glory of God?
He's challenging her faith, isn't he?
Exactly.
Asking her to trust him,
Mm-hmm.
even when the situation seems hopeless.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then Jesus prays to his Father
Yeah.
and utters the powerful command, Lazarus, come out.
And here comes the moment of truth.
Yes.
I can only imagine the collective gasp of the crowd as Lazarus emerges from the tomb,
Mm-hmm.
bound in burial cloths.
It's a scene that defies all human logic and understanding.
Yeah.
Death for a brief moment is conquered.
Wow.
But the article doesn't just present this story as a fantastical tale.
Right.
It invites us to delve deeper,
Okay.
to explore how this miracle can impact our own lives.
That's what I was wondering about.
Yeah.
We've established the why and the how of the
Right.
resurrection,
Right.
but how do we as individuals
Yeah.
connect with this hope on a personal level?
The article offers some practical advice.
Okay.
It encourages us to not just read about the resurrections in the Bible,
Right.
but to truly visualize them.
Okay.
Imagine Lazarus walking out of that tomb.
Mm-hmm.
Picture his sisters rushing to embrace him,
Right.
the tears of joy streaming down their faces.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's about engaging our senses,
Mhm.
making it more than just words on a page.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the article reminds us that the resurrection of Lazarus isn't just a standalone event.
Right.
It points to a larger hope,
Yeah.
a future where death will be completely conquered.
So how do we bridge the gap
Yeah.
between this incredible future
Mhm.
and the reality of death that we see all around us?
Mhm.
How do we make this hope feel real
Yeah.
when we're facing grief and loss in our own lives?
That's a question many grapple with.
Yeah.
The article offers a few suggestions
Okay.
for making this hope more tangible,
Okay.
for weaving it into the fabric of our lives.
I'm really interested to hear these suggestions.
Yeah.
They sound like practical tools
Mm.
for strengthening our faith and finding comfort in difficult times. So what are some ways we can make this hope of a resurrection more real in our lives? It's such a powerful concept,
Right.
but sometimes it can feel so abstract,
Mhm.
so far off in the future.
The article highlights the importance of getting specific,
Okay.
of diving into the details of those resurrection accounts in the Bible. It's one thing to simply know that 8 individuals were brought back to life,
Yeah.
but it's another thing entirely
Okay.
to picture those events vividly,
Mm,
to imagine the reactions of the people involved.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Instead of just glossing over the accounts,
Right.
we should really take the time to
Mhm.
immerse ourselves in them.
Yeah.
Like the story of Lazarus, for example.
Yeah.
What details could we focus on?
Well, we could picture the tomb itself,
Okay.
the darkness, the coolness, the smell of death.
Yeah.
Imagine the sound of the stone being rolled away,
Mm-hmm.
the anticipation hanging heavy in the air.
Right.
And then try to envision Lazarus himself emerging
Yeah.
from the darkness, his
Yeah.
eyes blinking in the sunlight,
Right.
his limbs stiff from being bound in burial cloths.
Right. The article even mentions that Lazarus came out bound in burial cloths, so
Right.
someone would have had to help unbind him.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that moment?
Yeah.
The joy and disbelief.
Right. Mixed with a little awkwardness as they're trying to unwrap him.
Yeah.
It must have been a surreal experience.
Absolutely. It's those little details
Yeah.
that bring the story to life,
Mm-hmm.
that transform it from a distant event
Right.
into something we can connect with
Yeah.
on an emotional level.
Right.
And the article encourages us to do this
Okay.
with all 8 resurrection accounts in the Bible.
Yeah.
Imagine the scene, the people, the emotions.
Mhm.
Make it real in your mind's eye,
It's like we're stepping back in time,
right?
becoming eyewitnesses to those incredible events.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing so, we're strengthening our own belief
Yes.
in the power and reality of the resurrection.
Precisely. The article also emphasizes the importance of
Mhm.
focusing on Jesus' resurrection as the most significant one.
Okay.
Why do you think that is?
Well, for one thing, it was witnessed by hundreds of people,
Yeah.
which makes it the most well-documented resurrection in history.
Exactly.
And it's the foundation of our faith.
Yeah. The guarantee that death has been conquered once and for all.
Exactly. If we truly believe
Mm-hmm.
that Jesus was raised from the dead,
Mm-hmm.
then we can have absolute confidence
Yeah.
that Jehovah has the power to fulfill all his promises,
Mm-hmm.
including the promise of a future resurrection
Right.
for all mankind.
Okay, so we've talked about visualizing those past resurrections.
Yes.
But the article also takes it a step further, doesn't it?
It does.
It encourages us to use our imagination
Yeah.
to picture ourselves in the new world,
Mhm.
meeting those who have been resurrected.
That's right. Imagine being able to talk to Abraham, Moses, David,
Oh.
people we've only read about in the Bible.
Wow.
Think of the questions you could ask them,
Yeah.
the stories they could tell.
It would be like having a window into history.
Yeah.
But the article doesn't stop there, does it?
It does.
It challenges us to go even deeper, to picture the reunion with our own loved ones
Right.
who have passed away.
That's where it gets really personal, doesn't it? Imagine seeing their faces again,
Mm-hmm.
hearing their voices,
Yeah,
feeling their embrace.
right.
Think about what you would say to them,
Yeah.
how you would express the joy and gratitude
Hmm.
flooding your heart.
That's where the tears would come for me, I think.
Yeah.
But it's amazing
Right.
how just thinking about those reunions
Yeah.
can bring so much comfort even now
Right.
while we're still waiting.
It's about making that hope so real
Yeah.
in our minds and hearts that it sustains us
Yeah.
through the trials and difficulties we
Yeah.
face in this life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like having that unwavering certainty
Yeah.
that even though death may separate us for a time,
Yeah.
it's not the end.
Right.
It's just a temporary pause.
And that brings us back to that young boy Matthew
Right.
from the beginning of the article.
Yes.
Despite his serious health challenges,
Right.
he has this unshakable faith in the resurrection.
Yeah.
It's what gives him peace and comfort, and it allows him to reassure his parents.
It's a beautiful reminder
Yeah.
that this hope isn't just for adults.
Right.
It's something that can bring solace and strength to people of all ages.
So we've explored why we can believe in the resurrection, delved into the powerful story of Lazarus, and even considered practical ways to personalize this hope.
Yeah.
But the article leaves us with one final thought-provoking question. If you could ask someone who has been resurrected just one question,
Right.
what would it be?
Wow, that's a powerful question.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I'd be so overwhelmed with emotion
Yeah.
that I might not even be able to form a coherent question.
Yeah.
But if I could,
Yeah.
I think I'd want to know what it was like to die,
Oh,
what they experienced during that time.
that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I think I'd be curious about what the new world is really like.
Right.
We can imagine it based on the Bible's descriptions. But to hear a first-hand account would be incredible.
And think of the stories they could tell.
Right.
The historical figures we've only read about coming to life and sharing their experiences.
Right.
It would be like a living history book.
It really puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
It does.
Death, as we know it, is not the end.
Right.
It's a temporary separation, a waiting period until that glorious reunion in the new world.
And that's the essence of the resurrection hope, isn't it?
It is.
It's not just about coming back to life.
Right.
It's about being reunited with loved ones.
Yeah.
Experiencing a world free from pain and suffering, and having the opportunity to learn and grow for eternity.
It's a hope that can truly sustain us.
It is.
Bring us comfort in times of grief.
Yeah.
And motivate us to live lives that are pleasing to Jehovah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
let's hold on to that hope tightly. Reflect on the stories we've discussed.
Okay.
Let your imagination soar. And never lose sight of the incredible future
Right.
that Jehovah has promised.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of exploration. Until next time, keep diving deep.